Hey there guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be looking at the movie Bumblebee, directed by Travis Knight. Let's get right into the video. Boom. Alright, you guys know exactly how this goes. We always start with the good stuff. Alright, so the first question most people tend to like answered in reviews like this for movies of this scale are the effects. How were the effects handled? Is the CGI great? And simple answer, yes it is. It's pretty good. Nothing mind-blowing, nothing groundbreaking for its type of movie. It's just really good CGI. You know, you can't fault a movie for really good CGI, so there's that. I mean, you know, Transformers movies tend to have good CGI, so there's nothing mind-blowing here, nothing, you know, groundbreaking. This usually tends to happen. Alright, this next thing is really what's exciting me about this movie. And that has to do with the writing. I mean, the writing in this movie is actually good. Isn't that insane? I mean, think of it. We've had 5 Transformers movies before this movie. And we've had terrible writing in each one, save for the first one, which has had fine writing. But here's the crazy part. A Transformers movie has character development. What? Bumblebee has character? What's going on, guys? It's the end of the world. Listen, I'll be honest. I didn't think this movie was gonna have. I thought it was just gonna be a fun popcorn flick. This movie has got layers. I mean, it's got layers. It is smacked with all sorts of layers. And there's a romance that goes on alongside this kind of lovely friendship with, you know, the protagonist and Bumblebee. And then we've got this side story arc, which I like the story arc on the side, which I'll talk about in my negative side. My problem with it is the actor, and John Cena. I'll talk about him in the negative side of the review. Aside from that, listen, this movie has great writing. How crazy is that to say? A Transformers movie has good writing. What? That's insane, guys. You know, when it comes to Transformers movies, performances usually tend to range from terrible to forgettable. But in the case of Bumblebee, it's neither. It's not notable, but it's neither terrible or forgettable. It's in the middle where it's good, but nothing of note. Nothing that would scream Oscar worthy. And that's not a bad thing. It's fine for a performance to be just good. It's alright. It doesn't mean that it's a bad performance or anything like that. It just means that the performance is, you know, it's fitting for what it is. And in the case of Haley Steinfeld and the other lead, I can't pronounce his name, but I think his name is George Lanford. He and the both of them had very notable performances towards the third act, but for the entirety of the movie, they tended to range from, you know, decent to kind of heartfelt. And that's nothing bad about. It's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing that the performances here kind of had that heartfelt connection that Travis Knight usually tends to bring into his movies, especially with his last movie. Anyways, performances across the board, they were fine. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the negative aspects of this review. Alright, so my big problem with this movie actually has to do with the antagonist, John Cena's character. And my problem isn't with the writing or how the character is developed. That's all fine. My problem is the performance. It kind of feels like John Cena is giving a slapstick, overrated version of himself in this movie. It's like they just gave a half-assed John Cena in this movie. If they were gonna give us John Cena, then just give us John Cena. But they decided to give us some sort of joking kind of. It's a weird character we have, because when looking at the trailers, we thought that he'd be this badass character who gets mad and, you know, kind of. Because my problem with the Transformers movies have never been the villains. The villains have always been fine in the movies, and I like the villains the way they are. But in this movie, it kind of feels like they turned John Cena into a joke, and they turned his character into a joke, and putting Bumblebee aside for a second, I kind of feel like John Cena cannot recover from this, because now people just think of him as a jokester. You know, he had this movie Blockers that came out in the beginning of the year, comedy, all fine, he was good in it. And then we have this movie where his comedy it's not comedy, it's just him trying to be quippy is all messed up and it doesn't really work. And I feel like John Cena's acting career will actually be off-railed because of this. And I don't know if they'll ever recover. And I think that John Cena should be real picky with his performances from now on, because the movies he picks are terrible. I mean, the movies are fine. His roles are terrible. So yeah, just my biggest problem was John Cena's performance. Alright guys, all in all, this movie was a fun ride. Nothing Oscar worthy. I wouldn't call this a great film. It's not in my top 10 of the year, but I do think it's a very fun film, and it's meant to be a fun film. It's not trying to be an A film, it's trying to be a B film where you can just sit down, throw popcorn, eat your face, and just enjoy the movie. And guys, listen, go check this movie out. All in all, I give this movie a $10 deal. Alright, make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and peace.
First pair of Jordans at 22. Same year I bought a crib too. Now my face in magazines I used to flip through, and my music on all the sites I used to sift through. Remember meeting Nas for the first time. Shook his hand and he started quoting my lines.